Hello and welcome everyone to day 16 in this, in this quest for 2000 rating on chess.com. And let's find an opponent here. Now, I've been playing 10-minute games, but I'm on a 2-game losing streak, and seems like, I don't know, I was kind of rushing because of the time control. So I don't know. We'll see how this game goes. All right. And already I made a mistake. I was like trying to play a different opening repertoire, and instead I played what I used to play, which I did in the previous game. So we'll see what they decide to do here. All right. So at least we have traded their we've pushed their bishop back up into the corner, and so now they were kind of forced to capture. Now we can move forward and attack their bishop there. All right, so do we go ahead and capture there? Let's see, or do we take out their bishop? I'm going to say that we should probably take that. Well, I don't know. We could just ignore all that and develop. Let's see here. Let's see. The knight could try and swing down into there. Okay, so I have a decision to make here, and I'm taking too long, so I should probably just move my bishop up here and wait and see what they do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll just see what they decide next here. All right, so they capture. This pulls my queen up. Now, do I push forward here with my pawn? Okay, let's go ahead and castle in the opposite direction. And just see what they decide to do next. All right. Well, now, could just jump up here and put some pressure on this pawn. Okay, so they decide to defend there. All right. Well, all right. Okay. Do I push forward here? What threats do I have? Okay. Do I push forward here, threatening a fork? Then if they capture, They could capture there. All right, let's see if this works. If I push forward, threatening the fork, if they capture, well then I could move my knight there and fork. But what if they just push their pawn forward? So, I don't know. This is turning tricky. If I push forward here, and they push their pawn forward, do I capture? See, then this is unprotected. All right, I don't want to create weaknesses in front of my king there. Let's go ahead and do that. Then push that. All right. Okay, so now they're trying to push forward there. Do I want to let them keep pressing forward? Okay. Well, if I go there, they push forward, I capture, they capture, capture, and it kind of opens things up. So, once again, do we push this pawn? If he just pushes this one, all right, let's open things up on the king here. Start causing some kind of problems for the king here. All right, now we can just press forward here and try and, I don't know, get our queen up there, causing problems. All right. Well, do we go up here? Do we just keep pushing forward here? All right, or do we push with this? Because if we push this h-pawn, he could just close things up. Then what? We push forward, he just blocks there. All right, do we attack his queen? Come on. All right, we'll just go that way. Try and just break open his king side. All right, what will he do here? What will he do? Okay, what did that move do? Anything? Oh, well now we can attack the queen. But he could go there. All right. Well, let's see. We should attack the king, but does it matter which way we go? We'll go there. All right. Well, now we could attack here, threaten to capture that pawn. We might as well check. And then, ooh, do we check again? Check. And then now we can pick off the knight. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we'll be able to get his knight and our pawn is protected. All right. That keeps his king trapped off there. So we'll go there, threaten to move that up. Okay, then we'll go here. And we'll just press forward. All right, now we can just march our king up here and help win. All right, so I don't know if I ended that in the best way or not, but I don't know. It was like kind of crazy. So, and I was running low on time, so I just started marching across there. And you can take a second look at it and probably find a better way to mate in the end, maybe. But let's do a quick game review and analysis there. All right, so we played 88.5 versus their 83.8. No blunders. We had 3 missed opportunities there versus their 1. We had 1 mistake and they had 2, 1 inaccuracy and they had 6. All right, so the computer will blast through these moves and all right, now take a closer look at everything in the analysis. So right now I'm just kind of seeing what the computer recommended here. All right. And the computer just kind of blasts through everything. Okay, so I played at a 2000 level versus their 1650. And so it says you really outplayed your opponent in that one. Both of you played an amazing opening. You were a cut above your opponent in the middle game. Your accurate end game play outshined your opponent. So I had 100% opening accuracy. That's only because by accident I played the wrong variation in this Caro-Kann. For the new repertoire I'm trying to play for this Quest of 2000, I played a different. I want to play a different variation in the Caro-Kann, but instead I accidentally played the one that I used to play, and that's why I knew a lot more of that opening. All right, so they played 100% in the opening, and then let's see. 75.5 in the middle game, they played 65.1. 91.5 in the end game, they played 79. So the end game definitely can make a difference. All right, let's take a look at the analysis real quick and just get through this. E4, C6. So I was kind of on autopilot. When I saw C6, I just played D4, and that's what I used to play. But I want to try something different where you bring the knights out instead of just bringing this D pawn out right away. So they responded normally. When your opponent puts both of the pawns in the center, you want to try and knock them out. So you counterattack this E pawn, backed up by the C pawn. So white could either capture and then you recapture, or white could push forward, gaining space in the center. But instead, I just developed a knight. So they capture, I recapture. Now they develop a bishop and attack. So normally you don't want to move a piece twice in the opening, but in this opening variation, you retreat your knight, but the bishop's under attack. So normally they just retreat up here to keep an eye on this long diagonal and down through the center here. So you can push this pawn and threaten to try and trap this bishop. So they make an escape hatch for the bishop, and you can either just move your knight out first or just chase this bishop. So they go into the corner. Now you can develop your knight to help protect this pawn. And then they just push one of their pawns here, creating a good hold on this D5 square to keep white from being able to push his pawns up here. Anyway, the game continues with developing this bishop. So you trade off your good bishop for their bad bishop, but it helps develop your queen for you. So now you have 3 pieces developed and they have none developed here. So they develop the bishop, threatening to capture this knight and double your pawns. So I decide to move the knight here, which is best, counterattacking the bishop. And then they just develop another piece here. So I have to decide whether do I capture the knight or the bishop, or do I just ignore things? And I wasn't sure what was best here. It looks like the computer prefers just capturing the knight. So instead, I just develop bishop to d2, and the computer says that's best. And if we go back, let's see. Here the computer wasn't sure. It gave that as the second best move, but they're about even. So I just ignored these pieces, develop, they capture, and my queen recaptures. And then I was wondering, if at some point they would try and chase my queen away. That wouldn't be good to do that now because I could just capture this e-pawn, of course. But they castle, and it says that's a mistake. That knight to d7 would have been better to just develop this knight. So interesting. Now, why is this a mistake, castling here? It shows g4 and then bishop to e7. So it looks like I should have just started marching my pawns up here, which I did later. But here I castled, and it still says that's an excellent move. So we have b5 by my opponent, gaining space on the queen, the queen side here. And it says bishop to e7 once again would have been better. All right, bishop to e7. So now we have knight to e5, and that is a miss. So, I'm putting pressure on this pawn, but of course the queen just came down here and protected the pawn. And it looks like once again g4 should have been played. So this is a miss by my opponent. Knight to d7 would have been better. All right. Well, yeah, I guess knight to d7 would put pressure on this knight. And then if I captured, his queen would capture, and white would still be ahead, but not as much as now. So after queen to b6, now it's saying I should have played g4. So I missed that opportunity. But they push forward. That's an inaccuracy. f5 would have been better, trying to chase my queen away. So finally, I played g4. And so now white is up by about 2.5 here. So my opponent just continues his pawn storm, pushing forward. And now I ignore that and push forward with g5, trying to create my own threats. So this is a common theme in opposite side castling, where because you've castled on opposite sides, you're able to push the pawns on your opponent's side where his king is, and not worry about your weakening your king position. So it's a race. I push my pawns, he pushes his, and whoever breaks through first should have an advantage. So, here it's saying I should have ignored that. So my opponent, instead of capturing, should have developed this rook over to help defend. And now it's showing that instead of capturing there, I should have just pushed forward. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So it is saying that I should have just pushed forward here with h6. And then the best move to slow things down, and at this point, white is just winning. The best thing to do would be to go here. Oh, man. And then knight captures. And of course, if the pawn would capture the knight now, the queen would recapture and with a check and then a mate. So now it's saying knight to d7. So let's take a look. The computer is still thinking here. All right, but it looks like the best response would be knight to d7. And now h7. Oh, man. Yeah, h7, king to g7, and then capture. Rook captures, looks like. Rook captures. And then, I don't know, you could push forward and try and trade off here, or just going here. So, yeah, this would absolutely just break open black's king side. Okay, so before I get too much further into that, we'll see what actually happened in the game. So if we go back, I pushed forward, they captured, I captured, and now they captured, trying to knock this knight out, get rid of one of my attackers. So I capture with the pawn, which is best. They developed this knight finally that was sitting over here for the whole game. And it said better would have been a3 to try and drum up some kind of counterplay on the king side. So if we go back and look at a3, it's saying I should play b3 to avoid opening things up over here. And then, let's see, queen to c7, starting to put pressure on this pawn, especially once the knight jumps down in here. Anyway, we'll see what happened in the game. So knight develops, and then I push forward, but once again I should have pushed forward with the other pawn, because now, okay, and here it says that this queen move was good, but knight to c5 would have been better, attacking my queen. All right. So, pretty interesting. If we go back, so I should have just pushed that pawn forward. So they go here. Instead, they should have attacked my queen by knight to c5. And this move was just a mistake. So, well, what does the computer say? The computer says it's good, but after this, I'm pinning, well, not pinning, I'm skewering the rook through this queen here. So I'm attacking the queen with the bishop, and I'll get this knight. So we have capture, which is best. So I capture, which is best. Knight captures. So the best move's being played, but we pick off the rook and go ahead in material here. So after capture, now we're only ahead one pawn's worth of material, but we capture here, opening the position up around the king, and it looks like, let's see here, king captures, but better would have been a3. All right, so now we moved our rook, and let me go back here. So here I wasn't sure whether I should move the rook on h or this d rook, and it looks like bringing this rook over and attacking the knight would have been better. So I don't know, pretty interesting, but at least here this is still a good move, and we're kind of closing the king out away from this pawn. I mean, I guess he could have gone up here and tried to swing around and stop this pawn, but the king moves here, and it says this is the best move. And then now we're threatening to capture this pawn with check. So, now we have a counterattack on our pawn, but rook to g8 would have been better, because now we're just able to capture this with check. And then as the king runs away, now we just attack, and now we're able to pin the knight, protect the pawn, pin the knight to the king, and we're just ahead, winning now. So what do we do here? We start trying to march this pawn up. So we go here, swing our rook over, and the king tries to get in the game, but we start attacking the rook. He moves up. That'll allow us to keep pushing our pawn forward. And so we just do that again, capture, capture, and the king tries to attack, but we're able to protect that pawn. And now this gives our king time to just do whatever he wants, because his king is stuck, and we have this extra rook here. So he just jumps up there and our king starts moving. So we can pick off this pawn and then send our king back over to pick off the other pawns. And now we have a queen. So, we just start harassing the king until we mate him. So check, check. Oh, and actually I missed something there. Better would have been a mate in 3 by just bringing the queen down to here instead. So at this point I had 30 seconds left and I was kind of on autopilot. So like I said, there could have been better moves, but we had the mate in the end. All right, it's getting dark in here. I'll end this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have not already, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments, suggestions, or even requests if there's some type of subject you'd really like to see in future videos, and I'll work on making that video happen. So have a great day, everyone. And I will see you next time. So have a super chess day. Thank you all.